Hey folks, let's just talk for about 12 minutes about life, existing where life shouldn't exist. Like people living in a desert, against all reason, where there's no water. Let's talk about life existing where life shouldn't exist. Let's talk about this planet, Callisto. It's the third largest moon in the solar system after Ganymede. Not exactly next to Ganymede. It's the fourth outward from Saturn, so that, or excuse me, what am I saying? Saturn, Jupiter, so that they're not next door neighbors. It's but every bit is populated, every bit is full of life. Imagine, if you will, that Callisto is tidally locked with Jupiter. That means the night sky is always Jupiter. Always. Forever. The night sky is always Jupiter. Probably daytime too, and imagine. They look up and all they ever see are swirling gases. Orange blasts of light, and that's their night. That's those people that definitely exist. I know it's hard for you to believe it, but that's those people. That's what they see. That's what their lives are like. They see swirling gases at night. Imagine what their romantic tales have had to entail. Swirling gases at night. The orange swirling sky. Look down into this city here. These people that live here, if you look carefully at this, go back later and freeze this photo, and look carefully. You'll see this is a city with a center, with a central hub, with buildings right there, grayer than the rest. You ever ask yourself why these colors are gray and black and white and silver, but not ever in color? Because you would see for a fact that these are people living on this planet. Look closely here. Look to the top left. Look at that center, that central mass with the black dots. It looks like a flying saucer. It's not. It's a city. These are cities. Look to the right of that. Look to the right of that. Do you not see these little cities with the gleaming buildings? Maybe not entire cities. Maybe these are sections. But look at how they section this off. Look at the sections. Callisto is a planet, folks, that has billions of craters. If you want to talk about craters, all right. How come Callisto has billions of craters, perfectly formed little round craters? I'm going to show you why. Because they're not craters. Look to the top. Look at what looks like a Stonehenge type formation. Well, that's the city. And I'm going to get right into it. And I'm going to show you that these are people, look, living around Central Park, like New York. Now, can you deny it to yourselves any longer? What is so hard to believe about there being people on other planets? It's not hard. It's just you've been told. You know, something that's what's so sickening about it. You've been told this by the government, and you easily swallow it and believe it and just go on because it's easy. There are people on all the other planets, folks. Children, adults, men, women, whoever's listening. It's not just us. It would be impossible, don't you think? We're here. They're there. That's all you have to know. Look at that. Look at that perfectly formed central park there. Do you see that? With huge buildings. You know, dummies on Earth. We say, oh, towers on the moon. You know, there's towers on Earth. We call them skyscrapers. We don't call them towers. You guys think a tower on the moon is a big rocky mass, built by some weird little selenites, something you'd see in a movie? There might be, hey, there are selenites, but they're people too. Even if they are bug-like or reptilian or whatever. Reptilians don't scare me. So what? They're just people. Probably punch them in the nose and kick them in the whatever and get away with it, you know? No big deal. We worry about the strangest thing. Here's that city. Now here's the top view. Do you see that? Do you see the lights on around this park? That's a different view of that city I showed you before. Look at all these objects on the surface. Look at this city. Look how it radiates outwards. Look at all the little craters. Look at that. Thousands of them. Look, thousands of craters all in one area. Not craters, folks. Told you, craters are not caused by impacts. If you want proof, okay, we've been watching these planets for 70 years, a lot of them. We just got to these recently, 20 years ago or so. But the moon, we've watched it for 70 years. I've never seen a crater formed in 70 years, folks. We have watched impact with Mars. So they say. Black scorch marks on the surface. They always say, oh, yeah, a meteorite hit here. Okay, well, why is it a black scorch mark on the surface and never, ever, ever a crater? Especially on Mars, where it's supposed to have a frozen surface, blah, blah, blah. Well, don't you think a hot meteor coming in would do something, do some kind of damage? Not just explode and turn into black dirt, as they show us. So as far as if you want to take the scientific view, well, it's never been proven that craters are formed by meteor strikes or asteroids or whatever they want to say. Meteor didn't wipe out an asteroid didn't wipe out the dinosaurs, folks. We've been getting bogus history ever since we were born. That's why nobody can believe anything. We've been told these things since we were children, when we were at our most formative age. We get that God thing put on us, and we get shoved into school. I don't know anybody that really wanted to go. You just get shoved into it against your will. It's when you first stop trusting your parents implicitly. It's when you first start saying to your parents, okay, they will make me do something that I absolutely don't want to do, and they know it. And still here I sit with these, well, sometimes they turn out to be pretty cool people, and that's what made school bearable. You got some pretty cool friends out of it. But what did Paul Simon say? When I think back on all that crap I learned in high school, it's a wonder I can think it all. It's true. And there's some people out there that are, whatever, scientists or whatever, little pseudoscientists that are on YouTube that think that they blow up a few watermelons here and there, and they're in the scientific community. These people they refuse to open their minds wider and accept more truth from other sources. Thousands of people, I'm certain, are on YouTube and other places trying to show you folks these things. A lot of you get it, but most of you won't, and that's just how it is, and I accept that from the beginning. I get some people out there razzing here and there, but for the most part, 90%, 95% people are cool. That's the way I think of the world. That's the percentage I see with the world. 90% of the people in this world are pretty darn cool. It's the 10% that bother me, that you can't do anything about. Hey, you know something? I stopped watching sports as a kid. People don't want to hear my sports, my stories about being a kid. Screw you. Here's one. As a kid, I used to play every sport in town: football, baseball, basketball. True story. I was out of town on a date. I was on a baseball team. I'm like 25 years old on a date. My friends call me, make me come back to play this game that I'm supposed to be in. So I rushed back, and this girl I'm going out with couldn't believe it. I said, no, I got to go back. I got to hit a couple home runs and it'll leave me alone. And she's like, what? I said, yeah, let me go back. I'm going to hit a couple home runs and we'll leave. And I went back and got up, hit a home run, bam, knocked it out of the park at everybody, hit another home run. Said, all right, you guys, I got to go. And I took off. And that's why they called me in, because they knew I could do it. They knew I could hit a home run anytime I wanted to. So, I kind of betrayed them by going on that date. Your friends just don't want to let you go after a while when you find that first girl that you start hanging out with all the time. Anyway, the point is, I read this book by Howard Cosell that just absolutely destroyed everything I ever believed about organized sports. So I still play sports, but I don't watch them on television. I don't give them my time of day. You know why? Because a sports team in your town or city or whatever, all it is a massive land grab by attorneys, doctors, construction people, contractors, that make it really, really big. That's all it is. They don't give a damn about that team. They don't care about you. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about, all they do is they find a money-making machine in a city that's big enough to support it and big enough to donate them valuable land downtown. There's a story he told about the New Jersey Meadows or whatever the heck, how it's just the most sickening tale you could ever read about greed and manipulation and absolute hate for the public. And after I read that book, I never watched sports again. I watch boxing, maybe, and even that's corrupt. But sports for me was complete. And Howard Cosell has no reason to lie. He told how every team was formed and who the people were that formed them. These people, that's why you get Aaron Hernandez and Darryl Strawberry and these criminals on these teams because they don't give a damn because they never get in trouble themselves. They hire murderers and drug abusers and whatever, and they just kick them out, knowing full well when they hire these guys that they're in this kind of shape. They knew full well that Hernandez was somebody that should be watched, and they didn't watch him. They knew Darryl Strawberry had a drug habit and was going to get worse and worse. They didn't care as long as he was able to manage it. They get in no trouble. They don't care. They go out there and give these guys these pep talks and blah, 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 and then they trade them. You know, in the middle of their career, the minute they're no good or they get hurt or whatever, they don't want to pay for a concussion. But it's just the most corrupt thing out there, and yet they have your kids by the gonads from a young age, and it's going to be a tough thing to break, and it couldn't be broken. But me, I just stopped watching sports completely, and it freed me of that crazy rah-rah and that crazy tension that you have when your team's playing and all those nutty times you'd be sitting there going crazy playing sports. You'd have your friends around you eating popcorn or whatever the hell, barbecuing, and you'd just be tense and crazy the whole time. I freed myself of that crap. I don't feel that anymore. I can laugh and walk away from this stuff now, and I think it's great. I changed my mind completely about that, just like anybody out there can change their mind completely about their belief in aliens, because aliens truly exist, folks. And the people telling you they don't, they're lying to you. You got your information from these criminals from the very beginning. They control your lives. They give you sports teams to lull you into stupidity and rah 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 crap and to take up months of your life. They got you jumping on these teams and going to Vegas and all that silly waste of life, and they're hiding the glory of life from you. They're hiding. Hey, these people found out that heaven truly exists, and they're keeping it to themselves, and that's the truth of it. They want you to think you got to die first to get there, and don't you know that that's the biggest trick of all? While they cheat, steal, lie, destroy you, and make you give up the choicest land in your city. You can see it happening in Sacramento right now. The choicest land in your city given to these guys. And they just go out and hire whoever has a talent. They don't care. They trade them whenever they want to because they have no hearts. They don't care. Don't you wonder sometimes how these guys can own these teams and they don't seem to give a darn about their team? Because they don't. All they care about is building a team that wins and making that land more and more and more valuable. And when it's at its most valuable, 20 years into the game, 50, it's a long-term investment. 20, 30 years into it, the stadium's old. When it's still pretty young, maybe sometimes 19, 20 years, they knock the thing down and you guys build them another one. And that's sports, and you do it for free.